What is up, everybody? Victor here with Blueful Boosting as I run into my desk, turning your downtime into uptime. And that's going to be a hard thing to do because, full context, I have had probably one of the worst weeks of my life. It's been one thing after the other, trying to catch up on a lot of things, mostly financially, but I also have a plan. So there's a silver lining in all of this. And I don't even really know where to start. So here's at least part of what the issue is. Because the issue is it's a lot of different things, and I want to stay on one topic. So I'm going to do my best to do that. And today's topic is how Florida as a whole, if not, let's stick to Tri-County, because that's my personal experience, right? The Tri-County area of Florida. It's a trap. It's a trap, it's a trap, it's a trap. I'm going to keep repeating it because that's what it is. I'm tired of pretending otherwise. I'm tired of being gaslit into oh, it's great if you do this and this and that. Maybe if I fast forwarded 25 years, I would think this place is great. But I still probably won't because the economy is very different for our generation than it was for our parents' generation. So there's just no convincing me at this point. For context, I never asked to be here, but my folks wanted to move here when I was 12. I have lived here since. I'm very quickly approaching the fourth decade of my life, and I don't want to spend the fifth, any more of the fifth anyway, than I need to here. A lot of people know this. I've made it very public, more public than ever as of recently, and now this is also translating over to YouTube. But to try and stick to one topic, because there's a lot that can go into this whole Florida trap thing, my biggest current debacle is my landlord. I'm not going to mention the fucker by name because I already am walking on thin ice, as it seems. And it's a weird statement to say that I'm walking on thin ice because I've been nothing but a honest tenant. A relationship between tenant and landlord is very skewed in the favor of the landlord in South Florida. There are a lot of protections that protect owners versus renters, which is fine. It's a risk you take. I'm not attached to home ownership. I rather invest money instead of investing into a lot of things that are considered the American dream. That's just my personal opinion. But you do you. But our landlord is the textbook definition of a slumlord. And I always heard about this in New York, but I'm actually experiencing it here in Florida. Our place, probably the only benefit to it is the rent. We pay $1,300. When I first moved in here, I paid $950. So it's gone up a couple times. A few times, actually, because it's been in increments of $50. So that's been a lot of increases, but it is what it is. When I tell people that, they tell me never move, this, and that. Fine, dandy, you're not necessarily wrong. But, and it's a huge but, right? A couple times a year, we run into huge inconveniences due to repairs. I don't control when repairs need to happen. My partner doesn't control when repairs need to happen. They just happen. But anytime a repair comes up, it's usually a big one. Because the fact is, we don't even report all the repairs that need to be done. They're simple shit. There's a blind. I don't know if it's in the shot or not, because it's usually the same shot. But there's a gap here, right? There's a blind that needs to be replaced. And I mentioned this a while ago. And I brought it up 3 times until I eventually gave up on it. I don't even know if I know where the blind is anymore. It just needs to be attached, or whatever the deal is that needs to happen. And, maybe just find a way to do it myself. But no, that's not my responsibility, right? That's the relationship between tenant and landlord. Something that was rubbed in my face quite a bit very recently. Because I got to make sure that you know that you are the person that's being served here. You are the inferior person, regardless of like, you're inferior. I can just leave it at that. I apologize in advance trying to talk about this. It's kind of rough, but needless to say, it's been a long 10 years. We're going on 11, right? This would make the 11th year for a lease. But the situation has been utter hell. I would say the last, and it's weird because I say that, but at the same time, I'm not unhappy. Like, things could be worse, silver lining and all that. But I would say over the last roughly like 2.5 years, our AC specifically has been going kaput more and more often. And specifically in the last couple months, it's been freezing over or gray jelly or whatever. This happened so many times leading up to this point that we actually had to replace the coils. The coils, after being replaced, what I've noticed is that the air filter gets dirtier quicker than ever. And both AC guys, because there's been 2 that have come out so far for this particular situation, both AC guys said there's not much they can really do about that portion of things. But I figured I'd point it out because, like, it's not normal, right? You should go through a filter like roughly every 1 to 2 months. Or at least that's what data tells me. That's what I was told by our landlord himself, that thinks he knows everything but clearly doesn't. It's what the deal is, right? But every 2 weeks, that's not normal. And it would also line up with when things start to go wrong, like the AC unit would shut off. Now, sometimes we're able to fix this through a quick fix we were taught by one of the AC guys that have come out, because there have been many different faces, possibly from the same couple of companies, but many different faces. One of them got fired recently, and the only reason they got fired is because they did bad business. Huge quotes. What actually happened is they told him what he didn't want to hear, which is that his unit's fucking old, and that the issues are going to keep happening. It's struggling to push cold air, and it's probably time to consider replacing it. But that wasn't good enough. So the reason I got in trouble recently is because I showed up for an appointment that was supposed to be between the landlord and the person to come out to do work. The issue I personally take with that, and this is where we have like selective memory, I don't know if it's old age or what, but I've been allowed to be around for appointments. Same with my partner. We were both allowed to be around for appointments. He would tell us when they are, which is just common courtesy, right? Like, we live here, we pay you rent, right? So, an appointment's going to happen at this time, prepare accordingly, blah, 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 blah. This time around was different. And by different, I mean I was scolded at like a fucking child in front of professional help for showing up to this appointment and answering a simple question as to how we got in this situation in the first place. Not only is this good context for the person coming in, so maybe we can avoid repeat appointments, which, by the way, would save the landlord money, but let's throw that out the window. Having context matters, right? Knowing what you're getting into so you can do your job properly. I didn't even get to finish before he started going ballistic on me. And why do that? That's pretty irrational behavior. If you were getting somebody used to something already previously, and now all of a sudden, it's not okay. And like, you want to feel a type of way about it. And you feel the need to, like a parent-child relationship, make me aware, I am the tenant, he is the landlord. and that I'm a pain in the ass. For what? You get your rent on time. And you have repairs to do from time to time. That's part of that same relationship you're trying to rub in my face and really make sure that I know that I'm the tenant and you're the landlord. It's kind of ridiculous. And by kind of, I mean it's fucking ridiculous, right? Let's not mince words here. I use a lot of filler words. I need to work on that. But personal accountability, it's important. He should try it. Anyway, I gave away the gender, but I'm still not going to reveal the name and just whatever. But the point is that this, it's something that's dragging out now because he felt the need to double down on his shit stance through email. And I sent a very long-winded email that's either going to get him to realize how much of an asshole he's been and how he got to this point, or we're going to get kicked the fuck out. Who the hell knows? Now, what merit he has to do that when he's always been paid on time every month for 10 years, I don't know. But in this state, I don't have a lot of faith, right? Because Florida favors the old. If you want to come here and retire and die and you came from, an economy ago, great, wonderful. Stay here. Do what you do. You live your life. I can't tell you how to do that. For people my age or younger, it's a fucking shit show. And God forbid you're in the LGBTQ community, which technically I am. Good luck even more so. They'll erase parts of history because that's how, the state is run. And I said I was going to, stick to a topic and I keep veering off. So let's try and get right back to that topic, shall we? The crap with the landlord, the silver lining here is that this is the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say. One, you're not going to talk to me that way. Two, if you're going to double down, and I know I really don't have much room for freedom, for lack of better words, cool, noted. I will work even harder on eventually not being the problem you're making us out to be. But you're going to have a surprise. And the surprise is I'm only bothering you and being a pain in the ass for the repairs that you know about. And now I'm pretending I'm talking to him, but really I'm talking to the internet. I couldn't give a fuck what he thinks. And if he runs into this by chance, it's not going to be anything different than I put in the fucking email. So really, come at me. But I know I'm telling the truth. And this is without even getting into in-between details, including but not limited to a water heater going bad to the point where it busted and the apartment flooded. And it was at that point that I learned that the fucker had no insurance on the property. So I got separate renter's insurance. And even though that doesn't cost a ton, it's something I had to account for to help us because there's not a protection in place that's provided by the landlord. So yeah, things like this, they fuel the fire to really go towards goals. And the goals were already there. But it really just, after I have time to reflect on it, it's okay, well, I know what I need to do, and this is the surefire sign I need to do said thing. So how do you get out of a situation where you feel trapped, right? Good enough to live, you can make it work, but it just feels like it's to your detriment to keep what's a toxic relationship going. Amber and myself, my partner, are planning to get out of here. Ideally, we do this in 1.5 to 3 years. I would love to do it quicker. With the most recent crap, I'd like to be out of here by the end of next lease, which would be June of... That would be the preference, right? The issue with that is life as it stands, right? There's everything you can plan for, and then there's the tons of shit that you can't plan for. And when something like that happens in South Florida, good fucking luck good fucking luck recovering from it. Right? Unless you have a well-paying job. And even then, it's hard. Especially if you decided to, be a homeowner and, God forbid, have kids or anything like that. Like, the shit's rough. I found an article saying that specifically the Tri-County area of Florida, it is tougher to live, more expensive to live here than in New York. That's wild. Now, New York is expensive too, but rent's frozen over there now, thanks to Madami. Right? So they're doing better. I don't want to go back there either. That's my hometown, but it's too expensive and other stuff. Like, I'm not trying to do that. But yeah, so the silver lining is you start like really planning and going towards what the next destination is. And there's a lot involved in that because the transition is going to be harder on me. I definitely have more to lose potentially than my partner does, which is taxing mentally. But at the same time, it's exciting to know what that possibility could be. Because there very well could be a career pivot, which I've debated for quite some time now. It's actually a big reason as to why I created this channel in the first place. To try and make things better, as the slogan goes, to turn my downtime into uptime. Because I think time spent stagnant in something I know I don't want to ultimately be doing, just to be able to pay the bills, it feels fucking bad, man. It feels bad. But there's more opportunities for career pivots in a place that's not here. Because I'm no one special. I don't got a college degree. I don't got certifications, so on and so forth. And some boomer's going to see this and be like, oh, well, you should have went to college and you should have did this, you should have. Yeah, there's a million things I should have did, and I don't give a fuck what you have to say. Sorry, not sorry. If you're offended, feel free to go elsewhere. But you might not even find this anyway because you probably don't know how technology works. Or have to have it explained by your grandkids or something like that. And yeah, that just came out, but I don't think it's wrong. Like any rule, there are exceptions to it. I, commend the people who actually want to stick with the times and actually attempt to communicate and learn things. But once you shift the focus back to you, like why you're trying to do select goals, there's a sense of peace in that. And you can start working towards what said uptime looks like for you, right? Because you feel much better and with peace of mind if you can be in an environment where you feel supported, where you don't feel like you're low-key being judged, where you don't feel like you're bound to very specific rules, but even within those rules, we got like micro rules for them, and we want to debate the terms of an already signed lease agreement, where you have to worry about a place might close super early because most of the people that live here are older than you. Like the list goes on and on. So I suppose this was a little more, quite a bit more at certain points. I tried my best to stick purely to the landlord thing, but it does kind of lead into potential future plans, but also, there are other reasons that help, I guess, kind of help the case to do the better thing, right? But focusing on that better thing is the only way you're going to get yourself out of the mental turmoil that you're going through consistently. Because then you just live miserably, and that's no way to live. And even though the odds are stacked against our generation forward at this point in time, unless something crazy happens, even though that's the case, if you're just living a miserable life, you're not going to do anything. And boy, am I calling myself out because I don't have a vlog on this channel to date. But ask me how excited I am to do one when you have this landlord crap. And then I also had a car incident in the same week and missed a good majority of the week between the two things. It's been a bad week, but I wanted to choose at least one of the topics of many different things, like side paths we took in this video, to focus on specifically. Have respect for yourself. Don't take no shit. That's really what it all boils down to at the end of the day. I very well could get us kicked out. I don't fucking know. But stick to yourself and what you know to be true. And move on. Moving on might take a lot of work and effort, but it'll be worth it. Because at the end of the day, you chose you as opposed to, somebody else's playbook. Take care, everybody. I will see you guys on the next one. Hopefully this was coherent enough, even with trailing off as I do. But I'm not the only person out there dealing with a potential shitty landlord. Guy, girl, or otherwise, right? Shit happens. And there's not a ton of protection in place for younger folk. So I would encourage you not just to focus on you and find an exit plan, but also just don't come here. Just don't come here. It's horrendous. Unless you legit have a real estate business you're trying to build and you somehow came across all that, by all means, stay the fuck here because shit's gonna keep becoming more expensive and worse for people trying to afford things. But if you're not in that situation, which a lot of us aren't, get the fuck out. Just get out. Choose you. This place ain't choosing you. Texas probably isn't either. But specifically this place, this is what we're talking about in this video. Florida is not choosing you. And South Florida really isn't choosing you. And for people that choose to live in Miami, thinking it's great, where you pay too much to live in a potential shithole, stop lying to yourself. It's time to choose you. It's time to choose freedom. There are places to do it that aren't here. It continues to get worse. And even if by some miracle in hell this state turns blue, it's going to take a while to recover what's happened here. When we favor putting a certain name on a certain airport over basic infrastructure, I just have no hope for this place. Or at least that's one man's take. Feel free to roast me in the comments if you'd like, or feel free to agree with me in the comments if you'd like. Either or is perfectly fine with me. This rant's done. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.